let's get started today talking about this kind of new revelation and what it might mean for CitizenCon. What we could see from a gameplay demo, if there was going to be one of Pyro at CitizenCon, and what we've seen in the past that, kind of informed this. Because I will say, those who paid attention, you might have seen at the beginning of my video about what to expect at CitizenCon, I hinted at the possibility that they would do the same thing for 4.0 that they did for 3.0, which was they gave us a demo of Daymar to play at CitizenCon. I wasn't there, but I got to see it, and we'll see it here. This is the demo. So we're going to watch a little bit of that and go over all that jazz. Let's see first where all this is coming from. So, the map came out last week, and people were looking at it. We all saw this area up here that was blank. Some people thought it might be Squadron 42. Some people thought it might be anything, really. I'm sure some people thought it would be like a game demo play space. Good job, good call. But yeah, it looks like it's going to be. I can't zoom in on the picture. I wonder why they made this a PNG instead of on the website this time. It says something here. Not sure if that's mind your steps, huh? I guess that's just lore. There's nothing else besides just computers, tables, Pyro, welcome to Pyro, and all that. I mean, I think it's pretty explanatory. It's not like a Star Citizen or a Squadron 42 demo. It says Pyro. So they revealed that a little bit later after they did the map initially, and people were kind of like, oh, okay, so there's going to be a Pyro demo. And it kind of makes sense. Last time, they have a lot of content that is ready for 4.0. Like the Pyro planets, I mean, they probably could have plopped us down on those years ago. They wouldn't have been as nice as they are now, but the planetary team is well beyond Pyro. They're doing other stuff. But yeah, these colonialism outposts, some of the AI behaviors, all that kind of stuff, they've had relatively working for a while. So whatever CitizenCon they were probably really certain was going to be before Pyro came out, they could do some kind of a demo because they don't have to worry about server meshing. Even if server meshing's not working, all of that stuff, if they just manage to try and put it into a closed environment, they could just throw it on here in a local environment and it would run perfectly fine, and people would get to see Pyro, and it would build a lot of hype. And you wouldn't hear much talk about the fact that it's not running well because server meshing's not working. So makes sense. No, not Sandworm. That's so much different. The Sandworm was a visual element in a closed planetary tech demo that was never open to the public. This is more like this. And we saw this. This is Play for Games, by the way. This is not me. It's about 7 years ago, 2017, before 3.0 came out. So this was back when people were playing a pretty archaic version of the game at that point, or at this point. And getting into the game for the first time on planets. This was well before 3.0 came out, but it was after they expected 3.0 to come out. So again, they had stuff that was ready. They had different elements and assets that they could throw into an environment. They just maybe didn't have a very well-performing internet environment. So, just like this, maybe we'll see some 4.0 gameplay. What that entails, I don't know. That's what we're going to go over further in the video. But let's take a look at some of these people kind of jumping around into this demo just to get an idea of what they were providing. Because it was actually pretty limited. It wasn't like crazy demo. So I don't know how much 4.0 will be. Here's a look.
Okay. So you're outside the arms zone.
There we go.
We have Meyer with a railgun. Sergeant Campbell, do you have a railgun?
Apparently,
This is, by the way, Meyer, DJ Knight, and Jared Huckabee, I want to say. Sergeant Gamble, Meyer, and DJ Knight. Yeah, I don't think Jared's there. And they are just, this is something that was put out to the public. A lot of people clipped this. In fact, you're going to see this one from Play for Games here on YouTube, and then the next one we're going to see is actually from Board Gamer as well. So these are clipped from one channel, put on another channel, and now you're watching it on a third channel. But kind of gives you an idea of where the game was during this demo and what the demo included.
I did not pick it up.
Apparently you brought a pistol to a railgun fight.
You brought a pistol to a railgun fight, my friend.
All right, let's see how this goes.
Whoa, 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 what was it? Okay, all right. Oh, there we go. All right. Okay. Well, that was short. Oh man, I wonder.
Big bada boom.
So I'm using the detailed camera right here to get a closer look at the gun. Right here. I wanted to see if all the working parts actually moved and stuff within it.
As we do, as humans do, they got into the demo and started shooting each other. Not even toxic PvPers. This was literally every single person in the demo. I mean, this is just human nature, right? These people got onto a planet in a game with a bunch of vehicles and weapons, and everybody started fighting. Like, if you watch this demo, almost the entire thing is people like flying around, experimenting with physics, enjoying the planet, and shooting each other. It's not at all like a PvP versus PvE thing. So this is the demo that we had. As you can tell, obviously, you haven't really seen much. It's been a patch of land on Daymar. I think it's not the whole planet. I don't think it's the whole planet, but it's definitely a large part of the planet. You're able to get up into orbit. You could fly around in the ship. You could go down and see all of these were new ships at the time. The Prospector, the Nox is on here. The weapons they're using are all new. The Drake Cutlass Black, all of this stuff is like redesigned and new stuff. And then the derelicts on the ground are also new, and these outpost stuff. So you get this idea that they just kind of took all of the work that they had put together for their 3.0 stuff and threw it into this sandbox environment and told players, hey, you guys jump into the game, check out these vehicles, and roam around and do whatever. And I could see something like that for 4.0. We see like underground facilities, colonialism outposts, maybe some of the new vehicles that they've been working on. I don't know what those vehicles might be. We've actually, I just released a video about new vehicles coming up, but a lot of them are coming in the next couple of months. So maybe some of those ships, the Argo SRV might be on there. The C1 and A1, maybe the G12s. I don't know how far along those are, but this kind of gives us a decent idea of what it is. It's just a large arena with Star Citizen assets in it. So it's not necessarily going to be like, oh, you go through a jump point and you show up in Pyro and you're running missions and you're interacting with AI. That being said, this was like 7 years ago, right? 6 years ago? Yeah, this was 6 years ago. So they may have gotten better at making demos since then. Who knows? I don't think it's going to be the game. I don't think we get to see the login session here, how this actually starts, but I don't even think it's going to be launched from like the normal menu. I mean, maybe it will be, but I don't think it will be the normal game. I think you will just be loading into like Persistent Universe demo, and it will just plop you onto the ground like this, and you can just start doing stuff. I don't think it's going to be like you make a character and you start a playthrough. They don't have time for that. Maybe they'll show us the character customizer, but you know, I don't think you're going to log into your account and start playing or anything like that. And yeah, jump points, they don't need jump points. They just want to show us Pyro. Here's another look from a different angle and different time of that same demo of people experiencing 3.0. Just kind of talking about the experience, I think.
Great job here.
Really did.
So my goal right now is to really just get to the other dark side of Daymar. Because I know a lot of people are wondering, like, is this actually a massive moon?
It is.
And I'm going to go there, and that's what I like. I can actually just stop over here, and I can just look out the side, and you can see all of the mountain ranges, all of the craters, the detail in that. Just, I feel like I would love to have this just as a wallpaper.
Yeah.
But while you're doing that, while you're on your pilgrimage to the dark side of the moon, we have Gamble.
Oh,
Gamble
boy.
has found himself.
He sure did.
What did you find, Gamble?
I find myself
A
a
target.
railgun.
There's a target.
The helmet. You don't like the helmets from back then?
Let me see if I
See, like this stuff was novel back then. They're just flying around a moon, and like if you go back and look at that moon, the moons look so much better than this now. Oh my gosh, look at the tiling. It's like you can tell there's a pattern. The atmospheric effects, the shadows, everything looks much better. But you see how people reacted back then, and how much they've improved the actual planet since then. I look forward to seeing what they do with the planets. Honestly, I'm looking forward to seeing what they're doing with like Nick's planets. The planetary tech team is very good. They don't make the whole game, but what they do is great. The old HUD.
So I think they're still not on this server.
Look at all the old
Sad.
HUD
Yeah.
elements. the reticule flying around and flipping and stuff.
Just learning how to control their vehicles for the first time.
Yeah, so this is also the first time we got ground vehicles, which is why he said that. And you can see it's just this general area where everybody is kind of centered.
They're just learning how to control their vehicles for the first time.
There is literally somebody who's been standing there. I can see them across the room.
Yeah, see, there's one.
They've been just standing there staring at the nurser for like 5 minutes. Just like, wow.
New UI elements could be something we see here. Honestly, some of this stuff could be the stuff that they're talking about during the panel. Like, it would be great if they threw in the ships that they already have engineering working for and said, okay, players can try out engineering in these couple of ships while they're flying around and check it out. Or like a UGF. Like all of these things that they're covering in these panels, I think would be great things to throw in with the 4.0 demo.
On an incline.
Yeah, so as luck would have it anyway, we are at our destination.
Good cover,
You like the old HUD more?
There's a bit more I want to show with the rover, so when we get back to base, I'll go ahead and we'll show off that too. Yo!
So they were just playing with new guns, walking around. Everybody's bored.
You should run around a little
You've just
bit.
been sitting here.
You should just run.
They're honestly, as far as the demo goes,
We have this here.
I don't know if this, like, I don't think this would fly now. I think they would have to give us more than just an open sandbox arena. I think people would need to be able to see some kind of narrative aspect, whether it be AI or a mission or like exploring a space station or something.
Can you not run?
There it 11. Is. I can run. There we go.
You can't really tell from what you're seeing here, but nothing existed in the game at this point. Like you can see there's no armistice zones. There was no law system back then. There was no... The party system was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. There's no actor status system, so you don't have any sort of injuries or health. You just kind of die. You didn't really have many notifications at the top. If you opened the Moby Glass, you would probably be able to see that, like... Oh my god, did you see that? Look at this. Look at that final boss over there. Oh my god. T-Man the T-posing Nox Rider. Beware. Jesus, that is such a dominant position. Look at that. He's banking into the turn and T-posing at the same time. And glitching in and out of existence. I'm terrified. But yeah, there was like, this game didn't do anything at this time. You couldn't even send money to each other. You couldn't buy ships. Couldn't rent ships. You couldn't even get knocked over. Was there melee functionality? But yeah, after this update dropped, we were down to about 15 to 20 frames per second max for 9 months. I think it was until around November. They got in client-side object container streaming, which I think, you know, they call server-side object container streaming SOCs. So it's weird that they don't have any acronym for client-side object container streaming. But, you know, I'm not picky. Whatever. Maybe they don't want to see certain things up on a stage in front of thousands of people. Sure. But it was like 9 months of pretty bad times. So same thing could happen about 4.0. I don't think it will. Seems like they're going about it a different way. But these were not the best times to be playing the game. I mean, in 2017, being able to go to and from a planet, it's still pretty cool now. Back then, it was like, wow, holy crap. Other games did it, just not like this.
Let's see what kind of damage we can do out the back of an Ursa then.
I do hope that the demo, if there is one here at the CitizenCon, I'm not confirming there's a demo. I'm just talking about if there is what might happen. I do hope it would be more than this.
Oh no!
Look at that T-pose. Amazing.
Oh no! Well, we can.
Yeah, that was the back when we first got hovercrafts. Oh my god. So yeah. Now, those two were at Gamescom. But there is also footage of this happening at CitizenCon, and some of you may have caught this in my recent video. This is why I thought this might happen at CitizenCon. I actually forgot about the Gamescom demos. This is basically the exact same thing that they're showing on the map for CitizenCon now. It's a bunch of tables with a bunch of computers with some kind of demo running on it. And these are all people who are just going to see CitizenCon in person live. So I'm hoping that our content, which is going to be on the show floor as well, they will allow us to do this kind of thing, interview and be live on the show floor with folks. And hopefully I won't have technical difficulties like this because, you know, they're kind of very normal here. But yeah, he's basically just interviewing people.
Seriously? Right after the red one thing.
I did mention technical difficulties, didn't I?
We have, is that the?
So they were just interviewing people basically playing 3.0, and I wanted to show that this is something that they did at CitizenCon before, so it makes sense. Now, besides that, really what I have to go over are the kinds of things that I thought we might see, and I just pulled up a couple Star Citizen lives, a calling all dev to talk about some of the stuff that might be crucial for CitizenCon for Pyro, that they might highlight, things like refueling and repairing gameplay and the cargo refactor, but I honestly don't know what else we could see. I think it's really just going to focus on the stuff we saw at the panels. So new HUDs, new UI, new interaction systems, scanning and FPS, maybe engineering, UGF, colonialism outpost, that kind of stuff. And some AI updates, I'm sure. I'm not an oracle, okay? Go back, watch Matrix 1 again. She's really good with the whole bent spoon thing. She's got it. I'm not doing all that. I'm just showing you videos of a video game. But I think this is the kind of stuff that's relevant to Pyro gameplay that they might try to highlight. It's more PU focused. It's not really something that you can sell in a demo that's not focused on refueling, but I still think it's kind of cool for us to listen to. And, you know, we got time to kill. So here it is.
Once that part gets done, they'll pretty much have to fly and find the guy in need. Find the guy.
Right. Okay, so this is... I had actually kind of forgotten what this was. This is talking about how refueling worked before and how it's supposed to change for when Pyro comes in. Pretty noticeably, you'll notice he's saying that like it works one way, but we have to change it when Pyro comes in. So it's kind of the thing I would expect to hear more of at CitizenCon, and maybe we'll see in the demo.
Fuel, and then they'll have a UI to select how much they want in tank 5, how much they want in tank 3, which type of fuel, stuff like this. Find a guy in need, find a guy that has run out of fuel, didn't check his fuel meter, and made a bit of a mistake. We're foreseeing this will be much more of a problem once Pyro kicks in, because refueling opportunities there at the station are really minimal. So this will come into play a lot more. So for a tier 0, we're kind of looking right now at the players using chat, good old chat, and going like, dude, I ran out of fuel. Is anyone with a Starfarer here that can help me? Or
just how many people have, by a show of hands, and I'm saying that because I know nobody's raising their hands, how many people have used refuel outside of just trying to test it in the PU? Like, you've gone into global chat, and not including somebody you knew. You went into global chat, you said, hey, I need fuel, and a Starfarer showed up and gave you fuel. Because I've never seen that happen before. The only other time I've ever heard of anybody using fuel was like when you're doing an event, you know, you already know somebody is out there with you. Raise his hand. All right, we got one in chat. There you are. We got 2 in chat. 3 whole people. Nice. Haven't even tried testing it yet. I'm sure it's happened a few times, but honestly, I think people were saying this too, back when they first added this. People were like, nobody's going to do that, dude. Everyone could just use that as bait. You could just be somebody sitting out there in space and say you have a Starfarer or say you need a Starfarer, and then they come out there and you blow them up. So, no reputation system, no beacons, made refueling pretty much useless. It's been in the game for like a year and a half, I think now, because they wanted to get it in for 4.0, but it obviously needs something big to happen to make it work better. So let's listen to, I don't even know if he goes more in detail with that, but let's listen in.
Hey, I have a lot of fuel. Anyone needs it? And you guys meet, you form a group, you meet the old-fashioned way. In the future, we're thinking of using the beacon system to actually create the beacon. Hey guys, I need fuel. We could do this at the beginning, but it'll just take us longer to release, and it could be a separate part that comes in later. So we thought we'd rather get fuel out to the players, refueling out to the players as fast as possible, and then we're gonna do the part where you actually have a way to contract fuel being brought to you, or I'm selling. I need buyers basically. So once you reach that person, we're going to leverage the existing docking stuff that's coming online now.
So, I mean, I think that's fairly substantial. Dan Truffin will probably be on stage during the Fix It and Fly It panel. He's fairly central to engineering gameplay. So they might do a Q&A. I think that probably would be something. If they don't go over refueling at CitizenCon, I'm going to try and get up and ask a question at one of the Q&As or something about this, because they're really heavily hinting at the fact that once we get to Pyro, we're going to have a better beacon system and a way to properly do fuel, or else the system's going to be broken, right? I mean, if you've got a reputation that doesn't let you land at any of these other stations and you can't refuel, it's going to be broken because you can't get freaking fuel in Pyro without a reputation system working. So this just seems pretty important. Let's continue.
You'll be using the same UI to dock basically your Starfarer's boom fuel arm with the ship that's out of fuel. The ship that's out of fuel obviously has a fuel intake port that you'll have to pretty much, it's pinning the tail on the donkey type of thing. It's a very precise maneuvering thing. If you mess it up, you either break your boom arm or you break the guy's ship. So there'll be a lot of challenge in doing that docking. Basically, you're flying tons and tons of metal and fuel into and trying to very precisely insert that nozzle in there. Once you manage to do this, and the
got to insert the nozzle,
are pretty much connected, similar to how the docking operation works, you will have a fuel transfer UI where you'll be able to set a price, which type of fuel, which type of tank do you want to transfer. From the receiving guy will be able to say, well, I only want half a tank because I'm low on cash or something like this. There's pretty much a trade interface where you have a bit of management of what you want, how much do you want, and from the Starfarer side, where do you want to deliver it from? Because you might have a tank that's completely full, a tank that's completely empty. We're looking into gameplay here of how the pressure in those tanks actually speeds up the delivery of fuel. So there will be, we want to insert a bit of gameplay here where you can, if you know what you're doing, you're going to be doing this fast, and you might be in a few seconds, like a pit stop Formula One thing. And if you're just an average player who first has a Starfarer and doesn't want to be bothered, you will still do it in about 30 seconds or 1 minute, depending what you're refueling. It might be a few minutes if you're refueling, I don't know, nitrous. That might take a few Starfarers, but you'll still be able to do it, but you'll just do it slower. At this point, both of you guys are sitting in space, so if someone finds you, you're in a lot of trouble.
Hey!
They're a pirate.
Wow, that sucks.
See,
I think there's a little bit more about Pyro up here.
To release it soon. Yeah. We'll see. It's still early, but we're getting there.
But it is still early. Now, I want to clear that statement up. It is still early. We have been talking about refuel and repair in many of these systems throughout Star Citizen development for several years now. When we say it's early days in Spain, that means active development on this feature is now begun.
The scheduling is done for it. We are just ironing out the details in the design. We already talked with a lot of the dependency teams, all the guys that need to provide the art, change the boom arm for refueling. How do we do the fuel ports? There's already people. There's gears are in motion for this. This pretty much needs to come.
For what it's worth, this came into the game soon. Refueling came into the game, I think.
Get stranded in Pyro, and there's going to be no solution for that. So it needs to get
the end of this year.
That answers my one question without me having to ask it. So thank you. All right, and I guess
it just they put it in, like he said, for the whole you can ask in global chat. They just never updated it with the whole beacon stuff, which is kind of the important part. So yeah, I think refueling would be something we probably would want to see in some kind of a demo, but it might also be difficult to fit in. You know what? I hope we see quantum boost. I didn't even think about that. That would be very cool. Like the new quantum travel mechanic, quantum boost. I'd love that. Automated refueling stations have been added to Pyro, but we don't know who they service. Because one of the things they're about to add to the game is the ability for factions to react to you based on reputation, specifically in shops and kiosks. What if if you don't have a good reputation with the people in the Pyro system because they are ruled by gangs, you have a very limited amount of stations that you can refuel at. All right, here's some more talk. You can see Dan Truffin is here, but also my man Thurston. What's his first name? Dang it. How did I forget his first name? And they are talking about... Hold on, I pulled this up for a reason. Refueling, again, in Pyro, and kind of how refueling will work. Is there anything else in here that might... Loot, long distance probing... Man, I would love if we got to hear about long distance probing. Loot tables, harvestables, refining. Ooh, we could talk about refining as well. Although I don't think refining would be in a demo. We do need to talk about it. So yeah, this is more talk about refueling gameplay.
How are we thinking refueling's working? Oh, where are we going with refueling?
In what sense? Like,
well, I mean, are we talking about the the 737s with the little nose cone and somebody comes up and they attach?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah, that's exactly what we are talking about. So for the Starfarer refueling, which is the one that we are working on right now, is that we have a boom arm where the player in need has to dock to, and then the refueling process can start. Yeah. So I think I saw the question where it was about like, yeah, will we have drone refueling? Yeah, that's not yet the plan of the system. So the plan is right now to have a very direct system, because like from my personal point of view, it's even the more interesting one, because like imagine a ship that is docked to the boom arm, you do one slight movement, and it's something that both players have to pay attention in this process, right? So it's active on both sides. For the drone part, it would be more passive on one side or even passive on both sides.
I want to be lazy.
For me personally, this one is the most interesting one.
Okay. We have some other follow-up questions for refueling here. Will refueling be doable in motion, or will crafts have to come to a complete stop to proceed?
And because we are using right now...
Question in chat, can all ships refuel at the moment? I don't actually know. I think so. Every ship I've ever tried to refuel in it worked, but that's like 5 out of over 100. So I don't know. No? There it is. It's a no. I'm going to guess it's probably every ship that's been designed over the last 3 years or so. And then every ship that's been updated since then for gold standard or something. Like the Freelancer is an old ship, but it will probably be able to refuel after this component change if it couldn't already.
The docking system that we already have. So like the Merlin to Connie docking, we rely on that.
Oh wow, the Caterpillar can refuel?
But actually it's a good point, because we have to pay attention to it. It wouldn't make sense for some ships to be dragged basically by the Starfarer, so we have to adapt the rules as it goes. But yeah, for the first iteration, we definitely will just have the well-known docking.
Yeah, we will use exactly what the docking system offers. This was a nice surprise for us, because we were looking initially in doing it a bit more simplistic, where you're just fairly close and there's a fuel transfer. But then docking came online, and we're like, wait, we could just use this, and we get the connection between two ships for free. So now the Starfarer is gonna, same as with docking, we're gonna try to do this where if you maintain heading and velocity on the mothership, let's call it the mothership, the child ship can come and attach. Basically, as long as you're not flying, this ship is not doing left, right, flying.
I want to hear
constant heading.
I came here for Pyro. Weren't they going to talk about refueling in Pyro? What? Here we are.
Refueling is in active development right now. Is this because it's a prerequisite for Pyro?
It's not exactly a prerequisite. It's something that's going to help Pyro a lot. Pyro, finding fuel in Pyro is not going to be as easy as in Stanton. This is a torn down place. Everyone has left the building a long time ago. The people that are there and want to sell you fuel either are going to try to rip you off, or you're gonna pay everything you have to refuel. So you're gonna be relying on players. You're gonna be relying on other people to come in with fuel from Stanton and bring it in there and sell it to you at whatever price. So,
okay, I think it's worth saying I'm trying really hard not to get into a Pyro overview video, but I am getting a little off topic from the demo here. But I got to comment on this. I think that just like we will have missions where we probably have to go and refuel NPCs, there were probably going to be NPC-controlled Starfarers that you can refuel at. They will be, I'm thinking, much more rare in a system like Pyro, but I can't imagine, like, if you want to refuel and there are no space stations around, I'm thinking you probably should have the chance of finding a NPC-controlled or AI-controlled Starfarer to refuel at. All right, let's get back to what he was saying. I'm sorry, I keep distracting.
The problem also comes with Pyro is like it's very hard to find a station to refuel. They're far between. So you might be, oh, I'm in the middle of nowhere now. There's no way for me to get back to that station where I know there's fuel. Hey, can someone come help me? Someone come help me comes with a dose of risk, because someone come help me might come with guns. But yeah, this is where you have to trust other players, and this is where some of our reputation thing is going to come in handy, as in you look over who you're dealing with. You go, well, this guy's been killing everyone that moves. I'm not refueling with you. I'm not telling you where I am, pretty much.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that while Star Citizen is a massively multiplayer game, it is a multiplayer game. Some systems will be a little more friendly to the solo players than others. Pyro, from everything I've seen and read and heard and spoken about Pyro definitely seems like it's dangerous to go alone. Bring a friend.
Exactly.
Well, gonna need some help then. All right, what are you guys jibber jabbering about here?
Will the cargo refactor include
a
meaningful overhaul of the economy itself?
Okay. You guys think they would have some kind of cargo part in the demo? Like, what would they be able to... They could maybe throw tractor beams. Functional tractor beams. We talked about the Argo SRV earlier. I don't know if they'd go with the whole ship, but maybe the handheld tractor beam tool. And how could they showcase that, though, in like an interesting way? Because freight elevators is interesting in like a large scale. Same with persistent hangars. I don't know what they could do with that. Cargo transporting between different systems as a demo? More cargo. Let's hear it.
For updated profit and investment ratios.
I think it has to.
Wait. Yeah. Okay. So this is why you guys are talking about Tony Z. Because we are in the midst of the cargo refactor and have not heard about economy stuff. So this is, again... We're getting away from the demo ideas, but let's listen anyways.
Adjacent to the cargo refactor, and we'll get back to that in a minute, will the cargo refactor include a meaningful overhaul of the economy itself for updated profit and investment ratios?
I think it has to. One of the things that we want to do is sell things kind of by the box, not like this per unit, because it does a lot of different things when we start to go down that road where it takes a certain amount of money to get into a box, a super valuable box that's this big. Whereas, I can get into like the really cheap stuff in larger volumes, maybe the really expensive stuff. I can only buy in smaller quantities, but I've got to get a certain amount of it in order to. It's like buying a lot size on the stock market, right? You got to buy it in 100 unit lots. Similar principle with what we want to do for the cargo, and it kind of ties to. The whole sea and these large containers that we need to have to facilitate those. But
let's talk about that.
I don't see how we can't, do that. Like it's mandatory. 100%.
I can show them. I can come from the future and show you how. Because we got the whole sea. And things didn't change. But it could mean that things are going too soon. Maybe. I don't know. That's more hopium than anything. Let's be honest. Okay, so that wasn't, again, much about the demo. The last bit I have is really what we saw in 2021 And this isn't a demo that they made available to players, but it is at least the most recent idea we have of what they want to do with a gameplay demo. So I don't think this is what we would play through if there is a demo at CitizenCon. Again, not confirming. But if there is, maybe we can take some of the features that we see here and assume that those will be in there.
Yeah, Pyro 3.
So first thing I would be excited to see here would be the clouds. Like loading into that demo and seeing that they got the clouds to this level would be actually really cool. I would, because this is, I mean, it's beautiful, and it also doubles down on the whole weather thing. What you're seeing in the background is it's not super complicated stuff. Ground-to-air missile systems, I think that's actually would be a great way for them to kind of introduce us to a no-fly zone without an armistice zone. So I could see a colonialism outpost like this with ground-to-air defenses somewhere in the area of the gameplay session that, like, you know, it's like something to bounce against for some entertainment. But all of these sorts of things, like this colonialism outpost where you could just walk in and tour the area and see things working, maybe some lightly functional AI and stuff, I think that all makes sense for like some level of demo. Here's another thing that we could see at the demo, something that they've really focused on over the last couple of years are shop patrons or shop AI that actually talk to you and function with you, because right now we just buy stuff from screens, but in Pyro, Frontier, not as much technology, this is something they like to highlight.
Well, welcome. Take a look. I'm sure I have what you want, and if not, I'll have something just as good.
It's not revolutionary, it's not a big deal, it's not going to break the gaming industry, but better AI functionality is also something I'm expecting in a demo, and also something that they're going to probably focus on showing us at CitizenCon itself. So you're seeing, okay, let's go back. Some of this stuff's in game, like these are some of the things that we saw in this demo that actually happened. You see civilians cowering. You see terrible FPS gameplay.
It's super cool.
Honestly, this stuff is all in game at this point, so this isn't like a highlight for any sort of demo. Honestly, these retrieve consignment missions have been really fun.
Do they actually want to interact with the civilians?
And then I think about reputation there. If you shot that NPC, would you get a ding on reputation? Who would that ding be for? Would it be with this gang you're fighting? Maybe that gang likes to see NPCs murdered. They own the place, probably not. And I'm thinking, like, how do you show that in a demo? As far as a demo goes for CitizenCon, a chance to play Pyro, I'm expecting a relatively small area, relatively compared to the size of Star Citizen. And I expect it to be focusing on a lot of the features we're already hearing about, things we're seeing at CitizenCon itself, things we've seen at recent sprint reports or read about on monthly reports. I don't expect it to be like a cargo mission or like a mission that you can do. You know what? No, it could be that. It could be... This could be like an instance that's put together for players to run on their own and experience everything, or this could be a public environment like they did in 2017. Those are two very distinct possibilities, so I'd be interested in seeing what they do. I do hope we get to see something narrative, AI related, that kind of stuff, reputation related. That's what really makes Pyro different. Tractor beams, new UI, cargo hauling stuff, we could see that in Stanton. So my biggest hope is that what they show us with this demo is what actually makes Pyro different, but at the same time, that might be hard to put in a demo. Either way, we will have the coverage of it, so make sure to join us. Hopefully they'll let us film. If not, I'll talk about it. But otherwise, that's what I expect.